All right.
I
And
love it.
is Tracey with Ellen Butler.
Back in August of 2018, we interviewed Ellen. We were pretty new to the interviewing of authors, and we weren't even sure what we were doing, but she had written a book called Isabella's Painting, and it was about art theft, and it was fascinating. I loved it. So when we were deciding which authors to pick for the first year, I was going through each one. Well, I did a dead stop because when I saw that Ellen had started writing a Cold War spy novel, I was, sign
Ooh,
me up, sign me up. And it did not disappoint.
that's
Oh my,
awesome.
it was so good. The book is called Operation Blackbird, and it's actually her second in this series. The first one was The Brass Compass. And these are published by Power to the Pen. This came out October 2022. I'm not sure if Power to the Pen is an independent or a traditional. I'm not really sure.
Power to the pen.
Power to the Pen. But I listened to the audio. She did have an audio book, and it was very well done. So, October 1952, the war is over, but for CIA officer Miriam Becker, memories of the horrors she witnessed remain jagged in her mind. While vacationing in Argentina, recovering from a mission that nearly killed her, which I assume was in the first book, I'm definitely going back and reading that. She's seeing more ghosts from the past than the sights. When longtime family friend and fellow operative Jake Devlin tracks her down, Miriam is forced to push everything to the back of her mind for the next mission. Help a highly prized and heavily guarded rocket scientist defect from Russia controlled East Berlin right out from underneath KGB's nose. Well aware that one wrong move could spark World War III, Miriam, Jake, and the team plan their strategy to the last detail. But when a betrayal brings everything crashing down, Jake, quick thinking, creates a diversion to get Miriam out alive, but leaves him trapped behind the Iron Curtain. Unsure of who she can trust, Miriam must complete the mission by relying on contacts outside the agency, even though her heart longs to return to East Berlin to rescue the man who is her last link to her troubled past, before KGB gets him first. I have read a lot of spy novels where women are the protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, Churchill's secretary and stuff, she's there and she's witnessing history. Well, this woman, Miriam, actually, she kills people. She's stabbing people. I mean, I loved it because they didn't write her as this demure, oh, I'm just going to sit here in the corner and listen and blend in with
Yes.
the thing. It was not written that way, and I appreciated that. And what I really liked about it is we kind of got to spy on the spy, so to speak, because you got to witness knee-jerk reactions to very unpredictable situations. It was just coming at you. Like when she had to figure out how to get this family out, there's a little girl and they're trying to dress her up. How do you tell like a 7-year-old,
Mm.
you are this person now? Yeah, actually, she changed her nationality. She
Oh,
changed her
wow.
to German. So they were teaching her German words to say
Mm.
on the plane, and everyone was holding their breath, hoping she wasn't going to drop the ball while they're on the plane because
Right.
it would have all come crashing down. There were times I didn't even know I was holding my breath because
Yeah.
I was like, oh my, Ellen did such a good job with this. There's nothing I would have changed. There were a lot of great characters in this book, and you could just feel Miriam's frustration with, first of all, on how to get this family out, but the anxiety of how to get back in to save
Yeah.
Jake because nobody would listen to her. And she was asking everybody, and, they're ready to move on to the next mission. It ended very satisfactory. And I hope there's going to be a third because I'm not only going to go back and read the Brass Compass, I'm definitely going to read the next one as well.
So again,
And
we need to contact Ellen and say, stop listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Does she not write the Cardinal series? She had.
I didn't see anything else because she wrote Ellen's background is she does something in Washington. She writes newsletters for political things. So she said it's very dry and because I remember that. And she wrote her legislative, there was another book.
Yeah.
So that was part of that series, but I don't see anything further past that.
Oh, because that was
And
a good series.
that was a good series. I think we got to meet her. Did we meet her at Malice? I
Yeah.
remember
I
meeting
think
her.
so.
But I looked on the Malice list. It doesn't look like she's on there this year because I would love to talk to her about this because I've read a lot of World War II books and World War I, but this is really my first Cold War book and it was fascinating. It was such a caustic time and I didn't realize, I mean, you probably do, Mom, because you were a
Older than
teenager during this.
Thank you for aging me.
Yeah. You probably remember things about that time and
Yes.
the warnings of the KGB and I'm sure my grandfather was he over there? He wasn't over there during the Cold War, was he?
Just World War II.
Yeah. So I will definitely be reading more about that because I feel like there's a whole part of history that I mean, I know about it, but I'd like to know
Right.
more. It was interesting.
Fabulous. I love it. Does she have a website?
Yes, it's ellenbutler.net.
Very good. All right. Last but never least is Misty, and she is going to do Kathy Ace.
Yes.
One of our favorite people.
Yes.
Yes. I haven't read a lot of her books. First of all, she came on episode number 27 in October of 2018, which is prior to my time. I was in the Mechanicsburg Mystery Bookstore, who is usually Malice, or who has been Malice's bookshop in the downstairs where the signings are. It's only a couple miles down the road from me, or like a mile, something like that. And I was in there one day, and there's like 17-year-old guy comes in with his mom, and he's like, I love Kathy Ace books. Who do you have that's like her? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go try this out. Not that I've seen her books. I think she's amazing, but it's sometimes, especially with Cozy Mysteries, they tend to have a slightly older readership.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
to see this 17-year-old kid come in and he's like, I've read them all. I love them all. I need something else to read. I was
Wow.
fascinated. So then
Wow.
when you guys said, okay, here are the authors that you can choose from to do this 5-year celebration, I was like, I have read Kathy Ace books before, but never with the intention of being able to review it. It was like, sitting in the backyard in the afternoon versus, okay, we're going to read this. And I can tell you that I can see exactly why he is fascinated. And I mean, I knew that they were good books. I knew that she was a good author. But it's a totally different thing, I think, sometimes to go in with the intention of reviewing it, which I've talked to people about that before, because as authors, a lot of times you have advanced reader copies. And so these are the copies that you get that are not yet finished. They're still, that they consider them galleys. So sometimes as a reviewer, you will get a book that still has some mistakes, still needs to be, reformatted correctly and stuff. And when you're sending those out, there's this whole, I really hope you like it, but I also need you to review it. That's the reason that I'm sending it to you. There's a slight shading of job on it, because you're not just picking it up when you're cooking chicken. You're like, okay, I gotta pay attention because I want to make sure that I know what were the good points, what were the ones that I wish I had seen differently. Was this entertaining? Did I get lost in it? And so I will say, though, that I picked up her latest, which I had not read that series before. So this is The Case of the Cursed Cottage, a cozy Welsh murder mystery. Kirkus Reviews said the diverse sleuths are charming. And this is the WISE, W-I-S-E, Inquiries, Agency, Mysteries, Book 7. It was adorable. There is a beauty, I think, sometimes in going back to things that you know that you're going to adore, that aren't trying to ride the line of current trends, but they're so good that they don't need to do that stuff. They're at this cottage, somebody dies. The frantic owner of the cottage, set at a Welsh seaside hamlet, asks them for their help because the owner thinks it's the cottage itself is killing people. Are we looking at it's like for seriously? Are you seriously saying they think okay? Well, so then two of the characters take up residence there trying to figure out, what is going on. And then I was very intrigued too by the fact that there's two different things going on at the same time. There's actually three, but usually in a cozy mystery, you get like a one and done, like there's a murder and now we're going to figure it out. They also have one of the people is going undercover to investigate a day spa that seems to be doing like some dangerous treatments. And so then the other one is left to stake out a man who might be incapacitated because of a work-related accident. And so there were a couple of different things going on, but the characters just drew you in. Like you wanted, can we have tea? I'll be there at 2. I like 3 lumps, please. I always have a very high level of fascination, a high level of, ooh, I wish I could do that. I'm not saying I'm a bad writer. I'm just saying that there are people who are more lyrical than I will ever be and who use language that definitely sets a mood that's not necessarily laugh out loud. Because I like the laugh out loud ones. I tend to write the laugh out loud ones. I have been told before that somebody snorted tea out of their nose while they were reading a book, and I am not sorry about that. So I like those, as you were saying, Kathy, with the hijinks and the wild story and bring me that alligator and let's do all the fun things. But there is a beauty to going then to a different corner of the genre that is quaint, that is softer, that you are smiling the entire way through the book. You may not scare your child or your dog for bursting out in a snort of guffaw that might bring the cops, but you are smiling the entire time. And I'll tell you what, Kathy did it. Kathy did it the whole time. I was like, okay, well, let me tell you that I'm excited, super excited. There are 6 others that I haven't yet read because I will be going back and doing that. And I thought I could see how this would appeal to somebody and why they would want to find other authors like her. There are shenanigans. There's a duke in there. And so he is trying to solve something about some missing silver mugs because, that's like huge for his mom because she's trying to take over the organization of christening his son and the heir to the dukedom because Henry, I think his name was, is the 18th Duke. And so the 19th is here. So it's like this pomp and circumstance thing. And I was like, there's so much going on. But you know how sometimes when you read a book and there's so much going on and you get lost and you're like, there's too much chaos in here. That did not feel like that. There was so much going on, but I was here for all of it. And It was wonderful. I cannot wait to read more. I want to say that the book that I read from her was part of the Kate Morgan
Those are good
series.
Those
are very good,
but they're very drier.
Yes, right.
And they eat Welsh.
Yeah, yes. So I was like, okay, I'll read her because I like her stuff. I wanted to make sure that she was showcased, as an opportunity with the 5th anniversary celebration. But I didn't really want to read something I had already read. And so I am so excited that I got into these because believe me, they're
fun.
They're all on my
fun.
Kindle now, Kathy, and it's your fault.
And what's funny is she has such an amazing personality.
Yes.
That when I read those, I hear her voice.
Yes, you do.
Absolutely.
She had a standalone out a couple years ago that
The Wrong Boy.
The Wrong Boy.
Yes, The Wrong Boy
was excellent. I loved that book.
Yeah,
good.
That was good.
Well, highly recommend, and you can find all of her things at Kathy CATHYACE.com. It does look, at least from what I can tell, where you would get books, that It's Four Tales Publishing, but I believe that's just her. Because when I looked up Four Tales Publishing, the only books that they've ever put out are hers. So, I mean, there
That's
are a
your
lot of
clue.
people who name their
Yeah.
publishing house, and I'm for that, absolutely. But yeah, it was really good. The covers are super cute too. I really like the simplicity of what she has going on. The titles are good, but this one just was like, well, dang it, Kathy. Now I'm gonna have to set aside time to read 6 other ones. And while
Yeah.
I would love to chase you at the conference to make sure that you're
She
writing
won't
the next
be
one, she's
there.
not
Be
gonna be there. I know.
She's been on a world cruise.
I know. I
know.
keep
She's
seeing these
always
fabulous
traveling.
Facebook, I'm like, are you on another freaking cruise? Like, come on now.
She never stays
We're
home.
jealous. We're
She-
jealous.
Oh yeah.
She's never on dry land, but we're just gonna have to do a cruise.
She will be at BoucherCon
Okay.
at the end of August, but
Okay.
that's in San Diego. So
Yeah, I
I
won't
don't
be going
think
to that one.
that's not a hop,
We're
skip,
not
and a
going
jump
with that.
like
No.
Malice Domestic.
Right. Right. So, but
Well,
yeah, so I really appreciate being able to read her and be a part of your 5-year celebration, and hopefully here for the next every celebration.
Next
Yes,
time
and
we're
here's-
together, we'll
Here
have
is
to have
definitely to 5 more.
we'll have to have a cake or something when we get together.
There you go. I'm all for it.
And speaking of Malice Domestic, I don't know if any of our listeners are going to be attending this year, but please, 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 if you see us, come up and talk to us if you're
Yes.
there. And Misty will be playing double duty. She'll be there as Misty Simon, the
And Gabby
amazing-
Allen
and Gabby
Right.
Allen. So she's really playing triple
Triple.
duty.
and Misty Night. So
Yeah.
Right. All of them.
So
all of it.
you know, and she's always up for a good conversation.
Absolutely.
And we have some lovely swag that we've all been working hard on. So we would love to give you
Share.
some.
Absolutely. Please, so we don't have to take it all home.
That's right. That's right. Ladies, I can't think of anything more fun than looking back in the Wayback Machine to our first year. And we look forward to 5 more years, and maybe we'll look back at our 5th anniversary and see how bad we were then.
I'm like, can I have my hair back? Whatever's happening.
Here.
Oh,
Yeah, she's
well,
got a whole
maybe-
end of
maybe
it.
I
I
can take
think
Tracey's hair. Oh my goodness. What a pleasure. What a pleasure.
we want to be sure and thank each and every one of our wonderful patrons. We have Cynthia, Liz, Art, Jan, Stacy, Terry, Tammy, and Jackie. We couldn't do this without you guys, and we want to make sure that you know how much we appreciate you.
We love and send out love and
Lots
kisses
of
to all
kisses.
of you. At a
Oh,
distance.
I love it. I love it.
Trivia. Last week's question was, author P.D. James began her writing career while she worked where? A school, B, a law firm, C, a factory, or D, a hospital? The answer is D, a hospital. She married Ernest Connor Bantry White in 1941. They had 2 daughters, Claire and Jane. White returned from the Second World War mentally ill and was institutionalized. With her daughters being mostly cared for by Connor's parents, James studied hospital administration and from 1949 to 1968 worked for a hospital board in London. She began writing in the mid-1950s using her maiden name. This week's question is, what is author Laura Lippman's connection to the program The Wire? A, her brother, B, her sister, C, her cousin, or D, her husband?
Tune in next week for the answer.
All right. Yes, that wraps up another
Let's try that pie thing.
Oh, here we go. All
Now,
right.
remember, Misty, it's bye.
Bye-bye now.
Well, ladies, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we will be going to Malice at the end of this week when this comes out. And we look forward to seeing as many people as we can. We hope you join us next week. And remember,
Life would be boring without these lovely ladies and a little mystery.
True.
1, 2, 3.
Bye.
Bye.
I love us. Can I just say that really loud? I love us. Someday it's going to be perfect. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut it off and it'll go on the end of every single podcast. And they're
That's
like,
right.
do
There
you
you
just
go.
not,
That's
do you not say it anymore? And we're like, no, we say it. We said it perfectly. We don't want to mess with that. Listen to that one over there.
Saving that one.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.